Hiking has always been my escape. Fresh air, untouched trails, no distractions, just the sound of my boots crunching against the dirt and the endless trees surrounding me. My best friend Eric and I had planned a 3-day hike deep in the mountains. A well-marked trail, just remote enough to be peaceful but not so isolated that we'd feel completely alone. At least, that's what we thought. Because on the first day, we saw him. And by the second night, we realized he was watching us. We had been walking for about 4 hours when we first saw him. A solo hiker, a few hundred feet ahead, moving at a steady pace. He wore a normal backpack, hiking boots, and a cap pulled low over his face. Nothing strange about that. People hike alone all the time. But there was something off about him. His movements were too smooth. His arms barely swung, and when he stepped over a fallen branch, it was like he already knew it was there before looking down. Eric nudged me. "Dude, that guy is kinda weird, right?" I shrugged. Maybe he's just focused. But a feeling nagged at me. The way he walked, it was like he was gliding. And then he did something that made my skin crawl. He blinked, not fast, not natural. One slow blink. Like a broken animatronic, as if blinking was a motion he had to remember to do. That was the moment I knew. Something wasn't right. As the sun began to set, we made camp by a small clearing near a river. We hadn't seen the hiker again, at least not until the fire was already crackling, and Eric went to grab more firewood. He was only gone for a minute. Then he came back, face pale. "He's here." My stomach dropped. "What? Where?" Eric didn't answer. He just pointed. And there he was. The hiker stood at the edge of the trees, just beyond the firelight, not walking, not moving, just standing there, watching. I opened my mouth to call out, but something stopped me. The way he stood, completely still, arms hanging loosely, head slightly tilted, like he wasn't a person, like he was just waiting. For what felt like an eternity, he didn't move. We didn't move. The fire crackled between us, the only sound in the suffocating silence. Then, without warning, he took a step back into the darkness, then another and another, until he was gone, just vanished into the woods. We didn't sleep much that night. Every branch snapping, every gust of wind, it all felt like something creeping closer. But when the sun rose, the forest looked normal again. Still, Eric and I both agreed. We needed to get the hell out of there. We packed up fast and started heading back toward the trailhead. The forest felt too quiet. But for hours, we didn't see him. We almost started to believe he had been some other lost hiker, just as wary of us as we were of him. Until we reached the final stretch of trail. I don't know why I looked back, but I did. And he was there, standing at the edge of the trees, watching, not moving, not blinking, waiting. Eric grabbed my arm. "Don't stop, just keep walking." And this time, we didn't look back. Hiking has always been second nature to me. Trails, maps, navigation. I've never been the kind of person to get lost. That's why when my friends and I set off on a well-marked trail in the mountains, we weren't worried. It was a clear, mapped-out route, and we had plenty of supplies. But somehow, after hours of walking, the path started to feel wrong. And when we finally saw someone else on the trail, it was us. There were 4 of us, me, Mike, Julia, and Sam. The hike was supposed to take 5 hours round trip. A straightforward loop with some moderate inclines, nothing too extreme. For the first couple of hours, everything was perfect. Cool air, good conversation, and the crunch of leaves beneath our boots. But around hour 4, things got weird. The landscape wasn't changing. We should have been near the peak, but the trail kept stretching ahead, endless. We checked our GPS. Nothing made sense. According to the map, we were exactly where we should be, but the marker wasn't moving, as if we were stuck in place. That's when I noticed something even stranger. The trees around us, They were the same. I mean exactly the same. The same fallen log. The same crooked branch. It was like we were walking in a loop, without ever turning around. We stopped to regroup. Something wasn't right. "Maybe we took a wrong turn?" Julia suggested, trying to sound calm. "That's impossible," Mike said. "We followed the trail markers the whole way." That's when Sam pointed ahead. "Guys, look." Up the trail, another group of hikers was approaching. At first, I felt relieved. Finally, other people. Maybe they knew what was going on. But as they got closer, my stomach dropped. They weren't just any hikers. They were us. 4 figures walking toward us in perfect formation. Same number, same heights, same clothes, same backpacks. I felt my throat go dry. "What the hell?" Julia whispered. I looked at my own jacket, dark blue, a tear near the sleeve. The person ahead of me? Same jacket, same tear. It was like staring into a warped mirror. Mike took a step forward. "Hey, who are you?" No response. The other Sam lifted a hand at the exact same time as our Sam, like they were copying us, or worse, anticipating us. A deep, instinctual fear took over. "Turn around, now!" I said. No one argued. We spun on our heels and walked fast in the opposite direction. But after only a few minutes, the trees started looking familiar again. The same fallen log, the same crooked branch, and up ahead, stepping out from behind the trees, the other us, waiting. I don't know how I knew, but suddenly I felt it. We weren't supposed to be here. I grabbed a small hiking knife from my pack and slashed the nearest tree trunk. The bark split, leaving a deep gash. "Run!" I ordered. We ran. Fast. Branches whipped at my face, my lungs burned, but I didn't stop. After what felt like forever, we stumbled onto a new part of the trail, a place we hadn't seen before. I turned back. The marked tree was gone. So were they. An hour later, we finally reached the trailhead. The GPS worked again. The air felt normal. The world felt right. But when we looked at our watches, only 1 hour had passed, even though we had been hiking for nearly 7. We never spoke about it again. But now, when I hike, I always carry a knife. And if I ever see another group of hikers that look exactly like me, I won't stop to say hello. I don't remember what happened in those 3 days. I don't remember leaving the trail. I don't remember getting lost. But when they found me, I was clean, unharmed, and standing perfectly still at the edge of the forest. And when I got home, my dog wouldn't come near me. I had been hiking alone, a weekend trip in a remote national park, something I had done a dozen times before. The last thing I remember was following the trail up to a ridge. I was supposed to reach the summit by noon. Then, nothing. Just a gap in my memory. The next thing I knew, I was standing at the ranger station, 5 days later, with people staring at me like I was a ghost. The rangers were confused. I had been reported missing 3 days ago. They had sent out search teams. But I wasn't starved. I wasn't dehydrated. And my gear, my boots, my jacket, my backpack, was completely clean. Not a single scratch, not a speck of dirt. They asked me where I had been. I opened my mouth to answer, but I had nothing to say, because I truly didn't know. My family was relieved when I came home, but I noticed things. They were watching me, the way you'd watch a stranger. My sister kept asking if I was okay, if I needed anything, if I felt different. I laughed it off. I'm fine. I don't even feel like I was gone. Then my dog, Murphy, ran into the room and froze. Murphy loved me, always had. But when he saw me, his ears flattened. He took a step back. I crouched down, smiling. "Hey, buddy, what's wrong?" His tail didn't wag. He growled. Murphy had never growled at me before. I reached out and he bared his teeth. Then he turned and ran out of the room. My sister swallowed hard. "He knows," I frowned. "Knows what?" She didn't answer. That night, I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, feeling wrong, like I was wearing someone else's skin. At 2:37 a.m., I woke up to whispering. Software. Just outside my window, my own voice. I don't remember leaving the trail. A perfect echo, repeating. I don't remember leaving the trail. I don't remember leaving the trail. I lay there, paralyzed, cold terror spreading through me. Then, footsteps, moving away, back toward the trees. I never told my family, never told anyone. But the next morning I went outside. Murphy was standing at the tree line, growling at something unseen. And there, just beyond the trees, I saw myself, standing, smiling, watching. Then, gone. I haven't gone hiking since, and I don't think I ever will.